Happy Monday, everybody. I am your host, Plumber Steve of the Prepare to Repair Show. This is Prepare to Repair Radio Day. It's Monday, which comes out every day at 12, or every Monday at 12 to 1. Joining me in studio is my co-host today, Alysen Suarez.
Hello.
Really? That's all you got? You're on the radio. Actually, emphasize excitement.
I'm the co-host.
That's it? So that's all you got? Okay, great. All right. Today's Prepare to Repair show is brought to you by Ferguson Supply Kitchen, Bath, and Lighting Showroom located at 7950 West 181st Street in Tinley Park. Whether you are doing a minor facelift or a full kitchen and bath remodel, Ferguson has you covered. And like I said, on today's show, I have Alysen Suarez, a.k.a. Silent Al, which is breaking her silence, to join me once again. We're going to talk about and discussing the topic of customer expectations, especially in this climate where everything is just totally turned upside down. And we are also going to be discussing some commonly asked customer questions we've received over the course of last year, few years or so. So that's pretty exciting. And we're also going to mention this Delta faucet that we're giving away. That's I think it's a really cool item that's given away on WJOL here. It's the Delta Voice IQ faucet. It's Voice IQ technology, links proven platforms, Amazon, Alexa, Google, Assistant-able devices with Delta Touch 2.0 technology, bringing it into the next generation solutions. So this is pretty cool. You can log on to WJOL.com and enter the win. This is really cool. If you look at some of the details that they have on this, it brings your standard everyday faucet and actually makes it smarter. You can touch it on, touch it off, and without even turning on the handle.
And you just say, hey, turn on faucet.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it does. Turn on, fill up. You could fill up your coffee pot. You could fill up your water bottle. You can program it to whatever you want to do.
What if, do you know how Alexa accidentally turns on all the time? Do you think your faucet would ever do that?
No, I don't think it'll do that. I don't think it'll do that. You
only one way to find out.
Win the faucet, and that could happen. But it's actually pretty cool because this particular faucet has a hand washing feature where it turns it on and it gives you time to wet your hands and soap your hands off and turn the water back on. So that's
when you have your hands away, it'll turn off, and then when you go back, it'll turn it back on.
I believe so. Yeah. So this is
nifty.
Yeah. Well, if you're cooking, it works out really well because you don't have to touch anything. You don't contaminate anything.
True.
On other faucets, you have to go turn the handle on, and you've got stuff all over your hands.
Yeah. So. It's just like the other ones with, you said they're good for when you have kiddos.
Yes. Oh, yeah. If you just touch it, you got the little one in your hand, a bottle in the other, and...
Or just them in general.
Oh, yeah, little people.
Because they can't always reach the handles. Then they could just touch the top of it, and it'll turn on so they can wash their hands.
Yeah, and you know what this also has that I was, because this is one of the newer models that has just come out. Because I've installed the Touch 2.0 faucet, not the Voice IQ. But this faucet has a touch clean spray head or spray hose that allow you to easily wipe up any calcium or lime buildup at the touch of a finger. So that's pretty cool. So you got to jump on to get a chance to win this. But we're going to touch on our topic of customer expectations. And I guess, that's a very vague term that you can have. But whenever you're buying anything, I mean, you see a lot of people they're very upset these days. And I guess it's just expectations have changed. Things have changed. Things have not adjusted with the way things have changed. And just kind of talk about that.
Well, it's just social media in general.
That is done a lot.
People posting things and they think it's super simple when it's not actually that super simple, is that people make it to be online or on TV.
That's true. Now, I'll ask Evan here. Evan, when you have things done at your house, what is your expectation? I mean, I guess the question would be, you have a door issue and you want it resolved and you're calling people out. What is your expectation when you make that phone call to the time you make that phone call to the time the job is done?
Well, during the phone call, I'd like a live person to answer the phone.
Okay.
I'd like a certain level of professionalism, like whether or not you can do the job. If you can't, there's no need to be dismissive, because I've had that happen before. I've actually had someone not too long ago hang up on me when I was inquiring about a job, saying essentially, we don't do that. Find someone else. And that was kind of the gist of the phone conversation with them. So I expect a certain level of professionalism on the phone. And certainly if they come to my house, I expect them to be on time. I expect them to be professional. I expect them to be able to answer any basic questions I might have. And I expect them not to condescend to me or try to make themselves seem so much smarter than me. It's my house. I'm going to have questions. I want to be involved in the process. Don't act like I'm putting you out. I'm the one paying for the work. So I have a certain level of control over the situation. And sometimes I don't like when people in the trades come to my house and they try to take over the project and tell me what I need. No, I know what I need. I need you to tell me how I can get it.
You know what? Everything you say there, you are 100% right. And the reason why I say that is when you have people that come through the door, they forget that, or people in the trades, they forget that you are the homeowner. They have to give you the respect that you deserve as the homeowner, as their boss, because you're pretty much the boss there. You're paying the bill. And also, you have a lot of information that is extremely helpful to a contractor that is going to help them with a lot of the questions of who, what, when, where, how, and why. So you can find out what happened, why it happened. So once you repair it, you can make sure it doesn't happen again. But I've noticed in the trades that people there's a level of arrogance that, well, you know, I'm the professional. You don't know what you want. You don't know anything. You're a dumb homeowner. You know nothing. And that's not true. A lot of homeowners are some of the most knowledgeable as they have been.
But isn't it their job to educate the homeowner?
Exactly.
Like, it's not them, just because you know more doesn't mean anything. Like, they're the homeowner. If something happens, let's say this happens again, then they know what's kind of going on.
Oh, yeah. It's your job to give them all the information they need. And if they need to take a step back to take in what you said and check on it, they should have that right to do that.
Well, because some homeowners probably they probably just don't want to learn as much. And then there's some who want to be more involved. You have a different variety, and you have to respect all of the different varieties that you have. Right. You have to be able to adapt. Right.
And that's why I tell the guys that, work for us is pretty much 60% of the job is plumbing. 40% is the people work, the paperwork that goes into doing the job. But if you're going into somebody's house, and honestly, I've seen some of the attitudes that people have had in, the plumbing business, and my thought was, I see why people don't like us. I see why people genuinely are afraid or just frustrated because of just the attitudes that we have. And, I think that bothers me because I don't have that attitude. I walk through the door looking to help. But the issue is when others have had a dismissive attitude, like Evan said, and they've treated them like they were just useless and incompetent and just stupid, then they have that feeling or that bad taste in their mouth from that experience. Now when they call me, I've got to come on the heels of that. And I got to show them that I'm not that person.
Yeah, you have to prove yourself even more.
Exactly. And we've got to prove ourselves every time we go through the door. And that's not a problem. That's our job. Our job is to prove ourselves. And I don't mind doing that. It's just when... It
just makes it harder when someone else shows what gives the impression of someone about what your job or your profession is, and then you have to change their mind.
Unfortunately.
Because once people usually have their mind set, it's hard to change their mind.
Well, people generalize.
Mm-hmm.
When
stereotypes are a thing.
Right. They generalize. They will have an incident, and they will, wrong or right, they will lump everyone together, and they'll.
Many times it's not even them that had the incident. It's in my experience, it's always I had a friend, or my father-in-law, or my brother called someone, or my old roommate from college told me a story about when they were building their house. Like, it's almost always someone else's story.
Right. And that's not going to happen.
And it's
to
like
me.
a game of telephone when you're trying to actually find out who it was. You go 5 people deep and you haven't got to the person yet who actually the incident happened to. And before you know it, you're right back where you started, and you did a full circle loop, and you're going, I don't know if anyone did that. Anyone had that happen to them.
It started out as a little nick on a brand new stove that was purchased, and by the time it gets to you, the whole house that they built,
they ripped the front door of the stove off.
Exactly.
On their way out, they kicked my cat, and it's a whole bunch of other stuff.
It becomes just blown out of proportion. But a lot of them unfortunately are true. I'm on a lot of plumbing pages, and I see some of the attitudes that a lot of people have, and and I'm thinking to myself, I could see why people don't like us. Seriously.
My feeling is this. You don't want to be lumped in with all the other plumbers who don't do the quality of work that you feel is necessary. At the same token, there are customers I know that treat plumbers and anyone who comes to work in their home absolutely terribly.
Yes.
And they treat them as if they are less than simply because they are tradesmen.
Yes.
And they may not make as much money or drive as nice a car, but because of that, they feel that gives them a right to talk down. So how about this? How about you don't make that assumption about me, and I don't make that assumption about you?
Oh, absolutely.
And if we both do that, I think it'll be a clean, fair transaction where everyone will come out happy. I'll have the work done I needed. You'll be paid fairly for your work. We can go about our day.
I think, honestly, that generally for, I want to say about 90% of the time, maybe 93% of the time, that happens. That happens because there's that genuine respect. But again, I think that you have people that when you're walking into their house, they are standoffish. Mm-hmm. But it's up to me to prove who I am. I have to, just within that first few minutes of showing them who we are, I think that right there goes a long way.
Have you ever walked off a job because of the way you were being treated?
Yeah.
You've said it had nothing to do with safety or the job itself. It was just the way the person at the job was talking to you. You're just like, you know what? I don't need to subject myself or my team to this.
It was just one of those things where it was going to be an untenable situation. It was not going to work no matter what happened. It was just not going to be a situation that
the person wasn't going to be happy.
They were never going to be happy with it. And it was respectively declined and said, you know what, we're not going to be one that's going to be able to help you. You're going to need to find someone that is going to meet what your needs that you want to do,
well,
your expectations.
Notice that early enough.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell, and especially when you're walking through the door. And I'll give you an example. A gentleman, one of our guys, was out. This was years ago. He was rotting a sewer line, and when he was rotting the sewer line, he got the line open, and people were cleaning up the basement. And they were pushing all this debris and stuff when it backed up in the basement, they were pushing it down the floor drain. So he had the homeowner run all the water in the house. And just to flush out these drains and so nothing backed up and settled down the line. And while he was doing that, because he was working in the basement, he was bringing the tools outside and putting everything away, getting the invoice together. The gentleman comes running out and screaming at him, calling him stupid. Why in the world did you do that? My sink is my sink is overflowing my laundry sink on the main floor is overflowing all over the place. And my guy goes, I didn't touch anything on the main floor. I didn't go in your laundry. Well, you had me run the water and, the drain, it just overflowed. He says, was there anything wrong with the drain? He goes, well, it was slow. He says, but you had me, run the water and he's swearing at him and blaming him because this gentleman had a slow drain or a clogged drain and it overflowed. And he continued to just, berate him, wasn't listening. So my guy said, I'm done. Walked away, said, sir, have a nice day. I'm not going to listen to you swear at me, and I'm not going to argue with you, which is what they're instructed to do. He says, call my boss. So he left, and I talked to him. And he proceeded to tell me the same story. And I said to him, I said, sir, he ran water because of what they were doing to make sure your line stayed open. And I said, he had no way of knowing that your drain in one of your sinks had an issue. He didn't go upstairs. He only went downstairs. And I'm going to tell you this. I said, if all your drains are running properly, you can turn on all your water and you can fly to Europe. You can go there for a month. And when you come back, your water will still be on and you will just have one high water bill. That would be it. And he's thought about it and he apologized. He said, I stressed out. My thing happened. And I said, that's fine. And that, things happen. And he said, I want to pay for the service. I said, no. I go, that's fine. I said, you're all good. He goes, well, I really want you to come. I said, no, you're all good. And at that point in time, we never went back to that house again. And the reason why that was done like that was because when your reaction is like that, to swear at and to blame, when it's not your fault, what's going to happen when it is? How are you going to react when an issue comes up and it winds up being something like that? And that's, you don't want me to act like that to you. Don't act like that to me. That's not someone you want to do business with. Mm-hmm. And that's how we handled it. And it's like, when we go out to a job, and just like a homeowner's evaluating whether or not they want us to do it, they want us to do the job, we're evaluating them to see if, we're a good fit for them. And that's what a lot of customers are doing. A lot of contractors are doing as well. It's making sure you're the right fit. So that situation and that job is going to go along, smooth. So you are getting the product that you expect, and we're providing it the way it's expected. We're on the same page. So, and that's what a lot of people think. I've had people who said, well, guys come out and they don't call back, or they don't give an estimate, or they don't do, and there's people out there that, they get too busy and they don't do it, and they should get back to people. And that's frustrating. That's another thing people have had where they've had estimates come out, or guys come out and give an estimate and they don't come back or call back. That's frustrating.
I had a situation where there was a individual who we were trying to get to come out to finish some work on our house, and we were calling, and it went a couple months, and they finally called back and explained what had happened, and it was, we were able to work everything out, and we'll have a crew out on Monday. Week goes by, nothing. 2 weeks goes by, nothing. And then halfway through the third week, I come home on a Wednesday night, and there are two guys standing in my yard pointing at my house. So I pull into my garage, and I go, excuse me, can I help you with something? It was the crew. They didn't call to say they were coming.
Huh.
They never gave the heads up, but it was the crew had finally come to finish the job at 6 o'clock on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, that's... No,
that's a little suspicious.
It was very strange.
Well, we did something like that to Scott Slocum. Scott, we had put in a softener for him, and Scott said there was an issue with it. So, and he had to turn off his water. So, it's like 8 o'clock at night he calls me. So I'm like, Scott, I got one of my guys literally lived, I want to say, within walking distance from Scott's house. So I go, I'm going to send him over there. Scott's like, no, I can't have you without water. You start early in the morning. You and your wife cannot be without water, because once you turn it off like that, you can't, it goes through your softener. There's he didn't know where the bypass was. So we went over there, and turned out there was a flaw on the actual a defect on the softener, and we got it to bypass and got it to work. But Scott's like, you didn't have to come over. You didn't have to come over. Yes, we did. You needed water. Mm-hmm. And, granted, we told him we were coming. I mean, we didn't, show up at like 3 weeks later and say, hey, we're here to do the work. But, I mean, it's one of those things where when you have an issue and you're already called us and you're a customer, we're going to get to you and get to make sure the job gets done. But
you have an open line of communication for sure.
Well, that's another thing. It's, when most of your problems that you have with, customer related issues are communication issues. Mm-hmm. And when you start right from the start, if you have that communication and you have that rapport going right when you walk through the front door, mm-hmm. like Evan said, you come in there and you're talking about, this is what I have, this is what I need to have done, this is the problem, this is, what I want to get done. And then the contractor on his end's going, okay, it looks like you have this, this, and this. This is what's going on. And what we need to do is we need to replace this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. And this is what you're looking at, and this is why we have to do this, and to get you to where you need it to be. And this looks like was the cause of it. So if we wind up replacing this and we don't fix the cause, we are going to be having this conversation again in probably about 3 years from now. And you're paying again, which doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. So you resolve the initial problem why you were coming out for, which is obviously the repair, but then you are able to find out what caused the problem, which brought you to, you got your resolution on two fronts. And that is what a contractor is supposed to do. There shouldn't be any anxiety or anything. It should be somebody coming through the door to help. Yeah. And that's how I treat it. I treat it in that way, that I'm here to help. And if you have an attitude right off this bat that I'm nobody and I don't count, and then we're going to do something else, then you have to find somebody else to do it. Mm-hmm. And you're listening to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Steve Suarez, Plumber Steve from RJ Graham Plumbing, right here on WJOL 1340. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to go back to talking about you're going to fill in? You're going to say this?
Oh, you wanted me to do that?
Yes.
Customers and their expectations.
There you go.
JOL.
Welcome back to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Steve Suarez, Plumber Steve with RJ Graham Plumbing, and you're listening to the Prepare to Repair show right here on WJOL 1340. Before the break, we were talking about customer expectations, and that is a topic that can go on for, ever. Mm-hmm. I mean, it can continue to go because of the fact is there's so many things that play into it. Now, there's the expectations are based on, and I think one of the things too would be home improvement shows.
Yeah, I love HGTV. You know that?
Yeah, they're very
Subway tile dark grout.
That is, yes, for all you tile guys out there, Alysen likes her bathroom is going to be subway tile with dark grout. Mm-hmm. Okay.
We have a bath. Whoa, words are hard. We have a.
Use your words.
Bathroom that will be put in the basement soon. Do you know what that's going to have? Subway tile dark grout.
Exactly. So, but I think a lot of people, when it comes actually time to really do whatever work that needs to be done, unless they have the experience of it, they are a bit overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And having the right people make it really easy. Having the wrong people can really
Well, I think having the right people can make it easier. It's definitely a hard process in general because the home improvement shows just show you they give the drama of them being like a hard time or whatever, but it's not, majority of the time it's not all rainbows and sunshine. No. It's like hard most of the time. And if you even look at a lot of like stories after home improvement shows, a lot of them aren't good. Like the work isn't good. They ran out of money, so like they barely even finished the job. They just finished it for the end of like the finished looks for the show. Mm-hmm. Like it's kind of a scam. if you really think about it. Like, they're selling this reality, and it's not actually true.
Right. Well, I mean,
well, not like the work is a scam.
Right.
Like the show, it's selling a false narrative.
All right, that was Alysen Suarez in there. So if you're listening,
I mean, it's true though.
HGTV,
it's true though.
So I just threw you under the bus.
I know. Isn't this? I thought this is honesty here. Isn't this honest hour preparing to repair?
We're in the bubble here. We're in the.
Nah, apparently not. You just threw me under the bus. You need me here. Remember that? You asked me to be here.
That's because I love you.
Yeah, whatever.
You're awesome.
I'm not feeling any love.
Well, you're actually, honestly, I mean, all joking aside, you're actually right.
I know I'm right because we've had this conversation before.
You're actually right because the work that's being done and the vision, oftentimes, and the budget are two totally different things.
That's what I'm saying. It's selling a false sense of reality. They say they have this amount of money, and like the show is like, oh, they can get this done. But in reality, if the same person actually tries to get that done, like that's not what's going to happen. They're going to realize, depending on your location, like where you are in the country or wherever you are, prices vary. So what they can get might not necessarily be the same thing you can get. And there's so many different varying factors that people don't think about, and they just think, oh, mine's going to be exactly like this. This is how it's going to turn out.
And plus the time involved as well. And
yeah, because time lapse are a thing on shows.
Exactly. It doesn't get done in a half hour.
Yeah, exactly.
And what it's going to do is it really puts a lot of stress on you when you're putting all this together, because there's a lot of moving parts. All these moving parts together.
It's overwhelming.
Exactly. And even if you have a solid team that's moving together and working together, what you still have the challenges that the job itself is going to throw at you, which is great because if those are the only challenges you have, you're doing great. But a lot of times, like I said, your expectations are are dictated by the people you have, your vision, budget, and how much time you have. So if you have a clear expectation and you're educated on the whole aspect of what this is going to entail, then you and your significant other that is with you on this, you understand what kind of stress you're going to undertake, and then it makes it go along a lot smoother. And plus, you can follow along with this and know when something's sliding along off the tracks that you need to kind of push back on. And I think that's where a lot of customer complaints, because one of the questions we had is, how do you handle customer complaints? And the main thing is communication. When you have a job with a lot of moving parts, you need constant communication, especially today with the way products are and the availability of products. You need to be able to communicate and say, okay, here's where we are on this project. Here's how we're moving along, especially if some of your work is outside. Well, this is where we are on this particular job because it's exterior work. And with the weather we're having, it's going to delay us. And a lot of times people don't want to hear that. But as long as you're keeping track of the schedule and everybody's on the same page, then we know where we're at. And also, too, here's another thing that kind of would, if me as a homeowner would get mad, is I've got delays because of weather. I get it. And I'll have some delays because of, say, some products. But when I have these products and I have the good days, I would really like to kick it in some overdrive and let's put in some time.
And if you don't see any,
it can
progress.
You don't see anything like really starting to,
any work being done, really.
Right. Like, okay, well, can I get a Saturday or something here? Can I get a couple Saturdays to kind of try to make up and get us back on track? Yeah. And sometimes it's possible, sometimes not. But I think that is something that as a homeowner they want to see. Are you doing something here to expedite this to get us back on track? So, and again, like I said, a lot of your complaints and a lot of your frustration is with they don't feel that things were done a certain way, or they don't feel that they got their money's worth, or, again, the communication on it. So that is something that can be resolved by just communication. And that's a good amount of it. But you also, I mean, I've run into this where we've done jobs and homeowners were comparing the pricing that we had or that we gave to a relative that did it for their neighbor. And, or they had somebody who was a guy who did it on the side and compared it. Or say a one-man shop or whatever. And that right there is, you can't compare the two.
No.
They're totally different. They're totally different in the aspect that a company with multiple employees is going to give you a totally different product than a person on the side, a relative, or a one-man company, a one-person company. And the difference is the company is going to give you a bit, a company with employees is going to give you the availability that you expect if there's an issue. They're going to give you a warranty because they've been around for a while. If they've been around for a while, they're going to give you a warranty that you want, and they're going to be there when you need them.
And the communication too. It's not if you're one person or whoever did it. They have lives. Like that's not necessarily their full-time job. So they have another job. So it's like, say you need to contact that person, they're not always going to be there. Whereas if you have a company, there's always going to be someone to answer any questions that you have and to keep that line of communication open.
They do this, basically.
That's their livelihood. That's their job.
That's what they do. Whereas, like I said, a one-man person, if they're one person out there, say it's a company, they're licensed and everything. If they haven't been around, are they going to continue to be around? Are they going to be able to sustain any warranties they give? And not only that, but are you going to, like the other, like say a relative or even a side job, you're going to get in where you fit in if there's an issue. If they're on vacation, if they're, say it's a long weekend, they're out of town, or they're at a barbecue and they've, had a little too much fun, you're not going to be able to get somebody. Whereas a company is going to have somebody there waiting to go and take care of any issues that you have. So you buy that security blanket, which is going to give you the difference between the two. Yeah. And also you got the insurance and everything there, where, like I said, a one-man guy is going to have the insurance and everything. So he's going to be kind of equal there. It's just going to be the variables of being able to be there when you're needed. But, I mean, there's people out there that,
it comes down to like what we were talking about earlier. It's like the customer is, in a sense, interviewing you just as much as you are interviewing the customer to see if your values align and everything. They like the way that you do things, and you think it's like a partnership in a sense. So, it's the same thing. Everyone just has different things that they prefer. And some people prefer to have being readily available and those warranties and those things like that, and those types of people will go towards the things that, you know what I mean? You're going to find the company that's right for you. Right.
And some people they just want somebody to get it done. They don't really care about the warranty. They just want to get this in and fixed, and price is the main thing that is most important to me. And everything else is secondary.
Yeah.
Then that is for you.
Yeah.
My only thing is you can't compare the two.
No.
Because you chose a company because you wanted certain things from that company.
Yep.
Your neighbor chose the other one just to get the job done. Now, the expectation, you can't expect a company to give you the warranties and everything that you want available and all the little safety nets that you want for the price of what somebody else is getting when they're not getting that. And that's why I always say, when you're looking at pricing or looking at the product, look at what you're getting. What is the package you're getting versus what the other person's offering you? And then you could decide, okay, do I want to go with, company or person A, company B, company C?
It's like shopping for anything, really. Because if you really think about it, some people buy name brand things because they believe, and they spend lots of money on name brand things because it is, in the end, a higher quality product. Like
Right.
everything about it, there's quality control. The warranty is better. The quality of the product in general is better. So people sometimes go with that because they know that they say they may be paying more for it, but they know in the end they're going to be getting a better product in the end.
True. And again, it's what you're paying for and what you want. And
Because they think, well, because you were saying like the value of, they have to see that they're getting what they paid for in a sense. And like in that sense, they think, oh, I'm buying this name brand. This is going to be a high quality product. My money, the value of my dollar is worth that to me.
Right.
And you just have to, I don't know. That's the way I think about it.
Well, some people feel that, I'm just paying for a name. And you could be. You could be very well paying for a name. But on the other hand, when you're, you could be paying for a lot more depending on what you're buying.
That's true.
Because there is products out there that, it's not a name. It's just a better product.
Yep, that's true too.
And that's why with us, we try to give a better product. And you're listening to the Prepare to Repair show here on 1340 WJOL. I'm Plumber Steve Suarez with RJ Graham Plumbing. And I've got my co-host here, the lovely and talented Alysen Suarez, Silent Al. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to finish off the show talking about some customer.
WJOL.
Welcome back to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Plumber Steve. And joining me, I'm with RJ Graham Plumbing. You know who I am, Alysen. And joining me is
my dad,
Alysen Suarez, Silent Al, who is the sometimes the voice of reason. Sometimes. So, before the break, we were talking about the quality of products. And you brought up something off the air when you buy a product, say you used a pair of leggings as an example.
my Lululemon leggings.
Okay, gave them a nice plug.
Sorry.
So,
Should I not say that?
no, it's fine. So basically, that particular product, is going to be a little bit more pricey, but they will last. So instead of buying 3 pairs that are going to last,
3 pairs for the same price that I know will last maybe a couple months.
right?
I buy one high quality pair that has a fantastic warranty that I know if anything happens to them, I'll be able to be like, hey, this happened. And they'll be like, oh, cool. Well, because of our warranty, we'll give you another pair or we'll fix them or whatever they need to do because of that.
Exactly. Well, that's the same thing that it pretty much goes with anything.
Well, that's
Like,
what I was saying.
Even with contractors, it's you can get a cheaper price and have no warranty and then pay again. And I'm seeing it with water heaters. Or you can get a good company with a solid warranty and pay once. That's do your homework. It may be a little bit more expensive in the front end, but it's money that's already spent. It's done. I don't have to worry about it. And, we've also run into customers who've had issues where it's, I don't have the money, I'm going to go to, cheaper route. Rather than go, because that's what they can afford in the position they're in. I would still say try calling us, try calling other companies, try seeing what you can do where you can, see if you can get ways to get it done by a company. They offer financing, they offer different ways to do things so you don't have to settle and you can get a good product.
Yeah, because obviously, this is a little different than leggings, but
Right.
like this, a lot of these things like running water, having a nice water and things like that, that's
clean
more
water.
of that's more of like an essential of living. So I think personally, I feel like companies should be more reasonable when it comes to that, especially if a customer comes with and says like, hey, I like the quality of work that you do, I like the warranty, but you know what I mean, explaining their situation.
Well, we had the one customer who had a sewer issue and she only had X amount of dollars. Now, normally we have a finance company we go with, but we talked it over and we decided to finance it in-house. So what she did is she paid over a few months and she paid, no interest, just paid, what she owed. And she was every month, on time, every month, and took care of it. And honestly, that's the way it should be. And I feel bad because I tried that before with somebody and they never paid.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because you people, and that's why I was reluctant to do it. But I had, other people, your mom and our person in the office who said, Dana, who decided, why don't you give her a shot? And they.
Sometimes people surprise you in a good way.
Yeah, and that's, and honestly, if that is why we do this.
And it's good to feel how grateful they are too. In the end, it makes you feel good as a person and as a company owner that you were able to help someone.
Well, we're here. We're supposed to help people, and that's the thing. And a lot of people have such fear and anxiety when hiring a contractor for that because they don't know what they're getting. They don't know what the cost. There's so much unexpected. They have no idea, and because of that, lack of knowledge.
And then also you hear all these horror stories about contractors as well.
Exactly, and that's why I say you can start out by getting the right people and finding the right people by doing your homework. And if you have any questions on that, you can text us on if you're looking to find the right person. We can help you and give you some guidance. Shoot us over a text at 708-964-5500, and we can kind of guide you in the right way, give you some tips or information that's going to help you guide in the right direction. Because the main thing is contractors, and at least with us, we're here to help. Most of your contractors out there to help. There's a lot of plumbing companies out there that are just like us, that are there to help. They're not there to, be part of the problem. We're here to be part of the solution. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, have that. And there are plumbing companies out there, just like everything else, that are bad. They got bad attitudes. They're arrogant. They have, it's all that. And there are some out there. Just like there's bad people. There's bad everything. Mm-hmm. But a company that's been around for a little while that has great reviews, I think you're on the right track when you find them. Mm-hmm. So we've got a couple of, you got another question that you wanted to ask on there.
Yeah. As a plumber, what do you think is the most frustrating thing that you've seen?
That would be, again, I think the attitude and the lack of ethics in the trade of people not being licensed, people not being insured, people just running around. It's like doing work that they shouldn't, that really nobody asks if the person's a plumber. They don't check the license. They don't check anything. Yeah. But then when it goes sideways, like I had a plumber here and he messed it up when they don't even know if he was a plumber. And if he did he have the licensing and everything else? Yeah,
that kind of comes all back to, the research and everything.
Exactly. It's research and getting the right people, because if you have a company do it, you got recourse. Mm-hmm. If you have just anybody, doing the side work or just a handyman doing it on the side, you're basically get a taillight warranty.
Yeah.
As long as he's gone, he's gone.
What is the difference then between a union contractor and a non-union contractor?
Oh. Well, I could speak for plumbing as far as on the plumbing end. The difference between a union plumbing company and a non-union plumbing company should really, if the union or non-union company is following the laws, the license laws and everything, should be nothing. Because everybody is required to follow the same laws. Whether you're union or non-union, you're supposed to follow the same laws. You're supposed to have, only people touch plumbing are licensed plumbers and apprentices.
Yeah.
So no matter if they're union or non-union, they're going to come in, they're going to have to be licensed, they're going to have to be insured, they're going to have all the criteria set forth by the Illinois Plumbing Code. And also, the municipality may have their own bonds and stuff that they're requiring from anybody doing the job. But realistically, the union offers or basically has their labor contract that consists of jurisdictional work, which means that contract that a contractor signs means that he has to use licensed plumbers to do certain jurisdictional work, which consists of everything plumbing. Mm-hmm. So you've got not only the governing body, but you also have the union watching them to make sure that they're all licensed and everybody is who they should be. Whereas a non-union company may not, they don't have that extra governing body, but by law they still have to have all that. And pricing is pretty much going to be the same anyway, because the market's dictating a lot of that stuff.
That's
you
true.
know, I've had people run and say, well, it's a plumbing company is, you know, well, you're a union plumbing company is more expensive. Well, they're not really that much expensive. They're really that much more expensive, I should say. They have their different pricing, and every company's going to have different overhead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't decide which one is worse or better. I would find which one is the best fit for you that's going to give you the best product with the best warranties. I want to thank everybody for listening to the Prepare to Repair show. That is going to wrap us up for today. But I want to thank Alysen Suarez for joining me, and I appreciate it, Al.
No problem.
And everybody, head out over to Ferguson Supply for all your kitchen, bath, lighting, and appliance needs. Your dream kitchen or bathroom is as close as Tinley Park. Thank everybody for listening. Till next Monday,